Can we all just take a moment to appreciate Araki's, use of this gay couple? Now, I know many might not really bat an eye or care too much for it in this episode, but you gotta think about when this part was written. I believe part 5, at the very least, had to have been written maybe in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. That's really progressive for its time, especially for the era around that time. It was like in a dawn of when people were still waking up and trying to realize of how it's okay to be like this, to be gay or whatever. And just seeing how Araki was kind of like ahead of his game, doing stuff like this before it was kind of like acceptable in a lot of media nowadays. It's pretty interesting. It's fascinating to see how Araki is as a writer, and I respect that deeply. I think many should really commend Araki for that, and I know, like I said, many might not care, but it's just something that you can really see in the quality of a writer, and I mean, JoJo has always had its, sus scenes. Let's think about the whole licking scene at the beginning of this, part. With seeing Bruno lick Giorno's cheek, it's like, this is a taste of a liar. There's been a lot of things that's happened in JoJo that's a little bit sus, but at the same time, I do like how Araki, he gives both sides. He's not afraid or shy to do things like this in his series, especially at a time to where it could have easily have costed his series. In that era of writing, maybe in the 90s or 2000s, before it was really acceptable, it could have probably caused his series not to be read, and people could have dropped off the series and not cared for it. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate that JoJo has managed to last this long and is still ongoing to this day. It shows just how good of a writer Araki is. But okay, getting off that for a second, let's talk about this episode. Now, when it comes to this little mini arc, with Clash and Talking Head, Squallow and his, it's not one of the best parts of Part 5, I want to be honest with you, but in terms of the way David Productions presented this arc for the anime, they definitely leveled up the tone. They made it just a hell of a lot more enjoyable. It doesn't feel draggy, it doesn't feel annoying. It's a really good 2 episodes. I like the pacing of it. It gets the point across, it demonstrates Naranja's skill, but also showing once again how Giorno behind the scenes is constantly moving these characters, like how Mista discovered this a few episodes back, and he's like, I don't know what it is, but it feels like Giorno is someone that makes me do certain things that, not even Bruno himself can do. And so we have Naranja doing the exact same thing that Mista said a few episodes back. That's kind of like the significance of this episode. But to get back into it though, this little mini arc, it wasn't really that fascinating in the manga. And the way David Productions did it, it's just so much better. It's enjoyable. I actually really like Squallow and Tiz's characters, and just seeing how they're presented with the way their stands work. David Productions really went all in for this episode, and I appreciate that. It may not have been as action-packed or high quality as the King Crimson episode that we saw a few episodes back, but in terms of just really wanting to make this one of the minor arcs that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, it's just not that crazy, look as good as it did. I really do enjoy that type of stuff, and it just shows the level of detail and passion for this series that David has for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Now, let's get into the actual fight. So Naranja, he took down 2 stand users in this episode, and that's really not an easy feat. 2v1. And yes, the 2 were technically a pair and they worked perfectly together with the way their stands worked. It still doesn't change the fact that still, Naranja took on 2 stand users by himself. And when you really look at the characters, the cast of characters that's a part of, Giorno and, Bruno's group, Naranja isn't really the smartest. He's kind of the one lacking the most intelligence in the group. He's kind of very similar to Okuyasu from Part 4 of JoJo. If you remember him, he was someone that had such an OP stand, but because of how stupid he was, he couldn't utilize it properly, which irked me so bad. man, you have like one of the most broken stands. You don't even know how to use it. I'm just like, really, it's wasted on you. It's wasted. But it made sense because of how his character was. It fit in with his character because that's just how he was. And people, I notice, really like to compare Narancia to Okuyasu. Like, he's dumb, he's not that smart or whatever. You know, he doesn't know how to use his stand. But I think that's just an outright lie. You can't tell me Narancia doesn't know how to use his stand after witnessing this episode. I mean, he was tracking both of them down, listening into their breathing, wanting to shock them when he ripped off his own tongue and showed the stand talking head and all that. It really demonstrated that Narancia, he is able to think and process what he needs to do to get the job done. And being able to outsmart Squallow and his like that proves a lot about his character. He may not be the brightest amongst the group, but he's definitely not below average. He's definitely not even just regular average. He's definitely slightly above average in terms of intelligence. I mean, for someone that really hasn't studied as much and he needed Fugo to teach him, he definitely shows that he isn't that dumb. He is intelligent, and he will definitely be an excellent, addition to the group as time goes on. Which, by the way, I mean, it's funny how Narancia does a lot of work in this episode, but Giorno gets a lot of credits. Like, the man is credited so heavily in this episode that he's causing so many problems for Squallow and his, even though Giorno's technically incapacitated most of the episode. That's the funny part about this, because Giorno, he didn't really have many options available to him in this episode. Like, he got bit, dragged to the water, he got accidentally shot by his own teammate Narancia, which he kind of did that purposely to be able to have Narancia chase him, but it still doesn't change the fact that Giorno, even though he was in such a bad situation, he was able to turn it around with his sheer intellect. And I think the way this is presenting it, like Giorno as a character, of how he's moving these characters, doing things behind the scenes, it's very reminiscent of what the boss is doing. If you think about the boss of the Mafia, he is someone that's able to make people do certain things without really even lifting a finger. And that's kind of what Giorno's doing. Since Giorno kind of wants to replace the boss and make a better world or a better place, town and all that, it makes sense why he would have this type of ability, this gift to be able to do that, because that's what he wants to change. And it doesn't just stop there. I mean, having a father like Dio is definitely going to be able to allow you to be like a master manipulator. I mean, Giorno may be a good guy deep down, but having anything to do with Dio is definitely going to make it to where you can definitely move things behind the scenes without really lifting a hand, because he has that quality to his, character, how he looks and everything. So, anyways, what to really get into? I guess, let's get into how Narancia won in the first place. So Narancia, he cut off his own tongue, which, by the way, savage. To have the sheer resolve to literally snip your tongue off is scary. I don't care if you can get it healed thanks to Giorno's ability. Here's the thing, though. What Narancia did was risky beyond anything he's probably ever done in this series yet. Because to do that, to cut his own tongue, is pretty much certain death. There's a reason why you see in movies, shows, media, books, whatever, history, to where when someone wants to just end it, they bite their tongue. There's a reason for that. It's pretty much certain death. So Narancia just snipping it and then being able to just sit there and all that and focus, that says a lot about his character. His resolve to get things done. And all these characters' resolve to be able to get things done is pretty frightening. If there's one thing that won this fight, it was resolve itself. It wasn't just outsmarting with stand abilities, it was just resolve. Because Narancia, you have to be a ballsy man like him to do what he did. And then especially when he's getting bit by a shark in the throat, and he's just not caring, he's like posing and all that, and he takes down his opponent. That also says a lot, because he wasn't afraid at all. He wasn't afraid, and he risked everything because Giorno could have been dead. He could have been dead right then and there, and taking a blow like that could have ended his life, but thanks to Giorno still being A-OK, he was able to be healed and fixed before he could continue moving forward with the group. So yeah, it's a great episode. It really shows the level of our characters, at least Narancia as an individual, and how Giorno once again is demonstrating that he's able to manipulate people behind the scenes, maybe not in a bad way, but he's able to help them out, very similar to how he helped out Mista, and it's also kind of like the boss as well. So I want to end the video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So if you do want to get notified for whenever a video is uploaded, like I said, hit that bell icon. And this doesn't go just for me. This goes for all YouTubers on the platform. And so with that, I love you guys. Be safe. Chibi out.